7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Coming soon. Snake River Manufacturing is developing a revolutionary new way to design and build a custom kayak trailer. This modular design lets you customize your trailer one piece at a time, allowing you to grow as you go.
You know, a lot of folks think gorillas can't read. But when the magazine's this good, even I had to subscribe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for episode 26. Just so everyone knows, this episode is also brought to you by Vibe Kayaks. Whether you're chasing the perfect catch or just craving some peace of mind on the water, Vibe Kayaks is your ride to freedom. Built for all skill levels in water, fresh, salty, or somewhere in between. The Vibe delivers premium kayak performance without the drama or cost from ultra versatile Shearwater 125 to the throw and go agility of the Makana 100. To the ultra portable inflatables, every Vibe kayak is crafted to elevate your experience on the water. So gear up, get out there, and do what you do. All right, everyone. If you get a chance, go to snakerivermanufacturing.us. Check out all of the cool things that Steve and the crew are doing with the kayak trailers. They're really innovating and creating new things almost every day. Also, if you get an opportunity, go check out Vibe. Vibe has quite an array of kayaks from throw and goes to inflatables to your Shearwater 125 if you want to get out there and be competitive. Also, unfortunately, No Bad Days kayak was bought out, but if you get an opportunity, go to outdooralphas.com, and they were kind enough to take over the brand and help things out. So go ahead and check them out at outdooralphas.com. All right. So tonight we're blessed with a great angler. He has won some amazing titles, and we're going to go into some conversation to see where he came from, what got him into what he's doing, and how far he's come and where he sees himself going. So without further ado, we're going to bring in Ethan Jett. Hello, Mr. Jett. How are you?
What's up, y'all? I am amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming on and joining us. I will say I went through online. I was trying to find a list of your accolades, and I couldn't find a whole list. Some people, they have the have you seen what I've done list. I was like, man. So I know you've won some cool stuff. So if you get an opportunity, or if you could take an opportunity and tell the people that don't know who you are, what you've done a little bit maybe, and where you come from.
Yeah. So I don't like to brag. That's the reason why I don't have the long list of accolades. But I am the 2023 Tennessee Bass Nation State Champion. That was out, coincidentally, on Gunnersville, so not even in Tennessee, but I've done that. I've finished in a lot of top fives in a lot of big tournaments like Kayak or the Hobie Bass Nation. But I'm Ethan Jett. I come from a small town in Tennessee, Lewisburg, Tennessee, to be exact. If I'm not fishing, I'm out hunting. And if I'm not hunting, I'm out racing with my truck or working on my car. So that really just tells you I have absolutely no money. So. But we're enjoying it. The weather here is a little hot, but
oh yes,
fishing down here, Tennessee is probably one of the best states to live to bass fish. So I'm really thankful that I was born here, born and raised, and I don't see myself leaving anytime soon. So.
Awesome. Yeah, we spent a little bit of time talking before the show, and you tick all the boxes for like the country boy. You got the hunting, the fishing, the automotive, and you do quite a bit of drag racing. And so, what's your have you won any trophies drag racing?
No. I'm pretty new as coming to like racing. Mm-hmm. We've had some bad luck. Let me say that, as far as some chemical issues. With my fishing and hunting, I don't have the $10,000 to put into a really nice car to be competitive. So me and my dad he fishes a little bit,
Hmm.
but he's always been really big into racing. So that's mine and his thing.
Right.
And we just go. We enjoy spending time together. We go and just have fun.
Yeah, it's weird how my luck's sort of the same way. As I would plastic gauge every single bearing, and I would do all the torquing. And there's a gentleman down the street who owned a junkyard. He would pull a head off this car, throw it on this, and go run. Never have an issue.
You know,
The more detail I would spend, the worse it would happen.
yeah.
So,
I'm always getting into like it's the stupid things, the little bitty like injectors, or
mhm,
we were at a party, a big Mopar race. Let's see, that was 2 years ago. The
mhm.
fuel pump never had an issue. Fuel pump just went out randomly, and of course, being a Dodge, it's hard to get parts, and it took us forever to find just a fuel pump.
Yeah, or it's the fuse that you spend 4 hours chasing
Yeah.
wires, and you're like,
I
oh,
tell you, if and this goes with kayak as well, it's always the ground.
hmm
Check the ground first. If not, you'll be looking through there, and bam, needs to be brushed off. Check the grounds, people. Check the ground.
yeah. I was an automotive technician for a little over 20 years, ASE certified, and I
Yeah,
was told the one thing you want to do is find what everyone hates and get good at it. And everyone hated electricity,
yeah,
and everyone grabs their light and they're like, positive. Okay, I've got power going to it. You never check that ground.
yeah,
It's got to have somewhere to go. So
yeah, exactly.
awesome. So growing up in Tennessee, what because the name of this is panfish to power fishing. So I saw somewhere that you started pan fishing with your grandfather. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, being a boy from the South, I think it's just an automatic. When you get old enough to hold a rod, you're going to be at the lake. And my
Hmm.
grandpa, before he passed away, he loved fishing. That's actually where I kind of wanted to start my YouTube channel, because I remember being young and watching old videotapes. And
Hmm.
he and my dad was on a john boat at a little local TWRA lake. He had a big old, it's a crazy how video cameras have come. Big old video camera sitting there looking at a blue herring, and you can see my dad driving the little john boat with this huge camera coming by it. And so that kind of gave me the inspiration to start the YouTube. But going back to the panfish, I
Hmm.
started fishing probably when I was 2 to 3 with them. Sadly, Pop passed away when I was 5. And after that, Daddy didn't really want to fish or hunt very much. And so I kind of stopped fishing a lot
Hmm.
until I was actually a freshman in high school.
Hmm. So yeah, it's funny you talking about the big camera. My grandfather, he had a prosthetic leg, so he would video. He had the same big giant full
Yeah,
VHS
yeah.
camcorder, and he would not stop recording. So it's a video of like looking out of the field, and then the ground, so you can see where he's walking, and then he gets to the next spot. Yeah.
It's amazing how
Hmm.
videoing has gone.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Like
Take one of those. Give it to my kid now. Here you go. Take
well,
some
just the
pictures.
quality alone, like it's
Yes.
fuzzy, and you can see the little lines kind of going through it. And
Yeah, and some people now they want to put the filters on to make it look like that, and I'm like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
we left that behind.
yeah. We have spent millions and millions of dollars to advance cameras, and then they probably spent $1 million to get that filter.
Yes, you're probably right. So now, as far as pan fishing, do you do any more of that? I mean, do you go out for fun sometime? And
I will. Here in Tennessee, we have some of the biggest pan fishing lakes, like Reelfoot Lake. Chickamauga is known for pan fishing, like crappie fishing.
mhm,
I'll go. We have a little lake, and a lot of people probably get mad at me for saying this lake, but Winsport Lakes. It's 3 different lakes that you can go to. They're
mhm,
probably like 6 to 9 acres apiece. They're very small. It's electric motor only, so they're amazing for kayak because you won't get ran over by these pleasure boaters.
oh
So
yeah,
we'll go there. Me and my best friend, who actually got me into kayak fishing, we go there a lot, and we'll go after panfish, some bluegill, some crappie. I'm not too fond. I'm not a huge fish eater, so when I keep them, I usually clean them and give them to my dad. He loves them, so I don't usually eat a lot of fish. I'm a steak and potatoes type of guy.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah,
As you can tell by my favorite statue.
I've got it cut right here on the video for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've always said I'll catch fish for someone else, but if I clean them, because I would much rather clean a larger fish like a cobia or a red drum, because I feel like I'm doing something almost like a deer is something substantial to cut on. If you get a small crappie, 30 of those or whatever, you're just there cutting out little chunks all day.
Yeah, and that's I love eating squirrel and dumplings.
Mm.
And you probably won't hear a 27-year-old guy or even younger than me say that, but it's really delicious. But that's the number one thing I hate it. It's so hard to clean them. You get so little bit of meat for all that work.
Yeah, they are quite involved. I've had my fair share of attempts at cleaning them.
It's kind of like eating crab legs. Like people love crab legs, but you stand there with that little cruncher and you're peeling them away for that little bit of piece of meat. Like my output is more than my input of calories.
Yes. So growing up fishing with your grandfather, I know that his 5 sadly passed away, but do you feel like you gained some insight on how to handle people? Because I know that I've been around people that are older than I, and they have a different mindset. Do you feel like that's helped you in your tournament career?
Yeah, I think it's given me the grit and determination of anybody can go out and do it if you put your mind to it. He always instilled in respecting the nature, and it will respect you back. Going out there, making sure you clean up after yourself, and he put the fire under me to be a better sportsman while out on the water. Be respectful to people. Some people are just absolute a-holes while out on the water. You'll be sitting there fishing, and they'll come and get right in front of you. And I'm not a very controversial guy. I don't go and try to make fights. And I really think that's kind of come back from him. He was always a very, I wouldn't say shy, but he did not like crowds. And that's how I don't like crowds.
Yeah.
Like going to Bass Pro Shop, it gets on my nerves a little bit.
Well, at this point in your career, don't they clear it out for you? You go in by yourself? No.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I tell them I'm going there, and they clear it out, put a red carpet down. And they say Ethan Jett, Jett's Fishing Adventures is coming. We got to get it.
It's hard to shop while signing autographs.
I know it's absolutely terrible. I've only signed one autograph in my whole life. So
wow. Yeah. I was recognized at a show one time. I was like, I don't even know how you know me. I don't know. I got a funny story with. So I've been recognized a few times now with. Because my YouTube channel, it's gotten up to 1,200-ish subscribers. So a lot of more people are watching than before. And I was actually at a gas station going inside, and this woman was staring at me, just blatantly, just mean mugging me. And I was like, okay. So I walked in, paid for my gas, and I was walking out, and she held the door open. I'm like, oh, great. So I walked out, and she's like, do you have a YouTube channel? And she was kind of mean about it. I'm like, yes. And she's like, are you Jett's Fishing Adventures? And I said, yes, ma'am, I am. She's like, oh, I just love your channel. She just completely changed. And then I was like, that was the first time I've ever been recognized. And I was legit noob. I was like, oh, thank you. You want to get a picture? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know what happens now.
Yeah, what do I do? Do I tell her to come over there and give her something? Or I got back in my truck and I laughed all the way. I was actually going to fish tournament, and I laughed all the way to that tournament thinking, she probably thinks I am a complete weirdo.
Yeah, I can only imagine when you get up to the upper echelon of the fishing world, how, you pretty much get recognized. But
I'm good friends with Christine Fisher, and she says it's wild. Some of the DMs that she gets are crazy.
I can imagine.
yeah, and you know, her being a
And I apologized.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, her stories. You need to ask if you haven't got her on. You need to
Mhm.
ask her some stories. But she talks about getting, and for the most part, I love being like walked up to because it puts an inspiration behind me. It's
Mhm.
hard to do YouTube, and I
Yes.
don't. We'll probably dive more into this later, but having those people come up to you,
Mhm.
it gives you that fire in your heart to continue, and I just love it. It's fun.
It's kind of interesting because like the magazine's the same way. Like I
Yeah,
built it. I create this magazines, put all my time into it, and someone's like, "Oh, I love the way it looks," and it's that one little boop. I'm like,
yeah,
"All right, it's worth
yeah.
it." That one guy, that one girl, whomever said it
yeah.
looks good. I'm like, "Yep, that's enough to keep going." So,
I got a friend here recently. Tanya is her name. I don't know if she's watching. If she is, shout out to you. I've never met her in my life, but she sent me a message on TikTok later
mhm.
a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month, saying that I was the reason that she got into fishing, get
Mm,
into kayak fishing, and I'm not gonna lie, it almost kind of made me tear up to just think that you have that influence on somebody's life. Like my grandpa gave me that influence when I was
mhm.
younger. And so it just kind of, you know, we made a whole circle back to my grandpa. It, I just, it's amazing to feel that I might have made that influence in somebody's life.
Right.
That my grandpa, my pop is what I call him, that he did to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Your grandfather sounds a lot like mine and my dad. They all have the "it happens for a reason" mentality.
Yeah,
Like, the guy that cut you off that could have made you mad. Well, maybe it happened for a reason.
yeah,
You weren't supposed to continue on that way.
yeah,
So I feel like if you look at everything that happens for a reason mentality, then it'll be okay.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And there's nothing better. There is absolutely nothing better than catching a fish behind somebody that took you off. And the look they give you, if looks could kill, I'd be dead 5 years ago.
oh yes, it's a little bitter. Put a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
put a little spike in their coffee, like
yeah, yeah. But it
especially if it's
also,
a good one.
yeah, and it's also really bad when they catch a fish in front of you. But we'll ignore that.
Yeah. So do you remember your first fish? Usually I ask people if they remember their first fish and they got to think back a long way. You're fairly fresh in the game, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, I do not remember my first like bluegill or something. I
Mhm.
know I've caught one before, but I do remember we went to my uncle's pond and I caught a big old catfish. And this catfish were probably, it wasn't a very big one, but being I was maybe five. I think it was right after my pop passed away.
Mhm.
And when he passed away, I had to go through counseling, and it really hurt me because we have a picture of Pop right here, me and Pop's dog Jack, and I was like this. I was connected to the hip, but after he passed away, um, me and my dad, I'm pretty sure it was after we went to my uncle's pond, and
Mhm.
I caught this big old catfish, and I literally took that catfish. We put it in a bucket, and we had a little pond at our house.
Mhm.
It was a pig pond when it was when we were raising pigs, hog, and I wanted to put it in that pond, and I carried that joker in that bucket to at least three different people's houses. My uncle's, two different uncles, and my grandma's house. And every time we pulled up, I'd pull it out of the water. Here it is. And I remember my dad saying, "Son, if you don't keep that fish in that bucket, he ain't gonna live." And I'm pretty sure I killed it. And I'm pretty sure I never saw it when I put it back in the pond.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure I killed it right there. But I would not let him fillet that thing. It had to go in that pond.
Heck yeah.
But
That's awesome.
talking about how connected I was to Pop, I carry this with me at all times. It was his keychain,
Mhm.
most valuable Pop. So I keep it with me at all times.
So you got a lucky charm helping you through your tournaments.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, you got a leg up on everybody.
And if my dad's watching, he's probably tearing up right now. Sorry.
Sorry, Dad. He's going to send me a letter. Don't ask
Yeah.
him any more
Yeah.
questions. Yeah. So how do you um how do you equate pan fishing, what you learned there, to tournament? So when you go to a tournament, do you have the same, um, not the same gear, but I mean, do you put the same passion into your tournament that you did into like the pan fishing and stuff like that? Uh, sort of when you start your tournament day,
Yeah.
do you start it with like the mental, okay, the flashbacks of like, this is what I'm doing it for, this is what I learned going into it? Do you use that as like a primer to your day?
Yep, yep. So one thing I've never put it in my videos because I've always wanted to take that kind of 2 or 3 minutes by to myself and not really share it to anybody.
Hmm.
But about 5 minutes before lines in, I'll sit there and I'll pray. And I'll pray for everybody that's going to be fishing, praying that God leads us to what his teaching and everything. And then I ultimately pray that we that he gives me the knowledge to catch a fish. I know some people like talk about, oh, well, you shouldn't pray for another fish, but I'll sit there and pray all day if I have to. And but I'll for the same mentality that you asked, I will sit there and I like to get to one spot and I like to just sit there, let the water, hear the fish jumping, the birds chirping. One of the greatest things that as a sportsman that we can do is sit out there and watch the world come to life.
Hmm.
It puts goosebumps on my fishing. You're kind of focusing like, okay, you gotta like focus a lot on my game plan. Hunting though, like I'll sit out there and I'll just watch it all come up. When that sun starts cresting and it turns the horizon, looks like it's in flames.
Hmm.
There's nothing more beautiful than that, and it really gets your mind right. It gets me excited for the day, and it just makes me really enjoy my religion. You look out and it's like there's only one person that could have made that, and that's God.
Yeah, it's quite a thing to behold. I don't tournament fish, so I don't get up early in the morning to go fishing, but I used to go hunting a lot, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know,
It goes from like uh,
it,
just like it flipping the switch,
it'll
dead
almost
silent.
make you tear up.
Hmm.
How beautiful it is. If anybody's watching that has never been hunting or been out on the water at sunrise, like I'm talking, if you look online like 30 minutes before the official sunrise, get out there as early as you can and just sit out there. Get you a rock and just sit out there and watch that come to life. And it
Hmm.
really makes you think about life and think about how fast we move in the life. It makes you slow down and really enjoy it. It's just gets goosebumps all over me. Thank
Yeah,
you, Mama.
that's a cool mentality. I know it's a long way for me to get around to answering that question,
Yeah, you're
but
good.
but um, the taking a moment mindset, because you see a lot of people, they're like, okay, I've got to be here at this time, do this now, get into it, and there's uh, doesn't seem to be any enjoyment in it.
Yeah,
They're just missing the reason. It seems to me, and you seem to have the appreciation for all of it,
yeah,
the tournament aspect of it, because you're hardcore when it needs to be hardcore, but you have the early morning soaking in the experience,
yeah,
like the thankful for being here.
yeah,
So
yeah. So one of the things that, and I'll see a lot of people do, is they'll rush. Like when they get, say a tournament lines ends at 5 o'clock or 5:30. You can usually launch at 5, like
mhm.
that 30 minute. So they'll be people pulling up and just sitting there pulling up right at 5 o'clock, and they're hustling trying to get everything together, and you're kind of missing that. Um, what I do, I get there an hour before. Like
Mhm.
a lot of times, if I can't get there an hour before, I get there at least 30 minutes, and I get everything together, launch, pull it to the side, and I'll sit in my truck or I'll sit down on my kayak, and I'll just sit there and think, talk to people. I've made so many friends just sitting there talking to people, And these big tournaments, these people are all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the Bassmaster Classic in March, I met, and apparently I did not realize this, I have a following in Mexico. And I met a bunch of the Mexican Bass Nation people.
Hmm.
And I was launching from this ramp, and they all walked over and like, "Are you Ethan?" And I was like, "Yeah." And there was one guy there that was an interpreter.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest, there was like 5 guys. All the rest of the people didn't know English, but they knew my name, and that was just awesome.
Wow.
So I made friends with all them, and so just sitting there looking at that, that's what makes these tournaments worth it, in my opinion.
You, Mid Tennessee Angling said you sent him here.
Oh,
Sent them here.
I don't know who
Yep.
Mid Tennessee Angling is. I guess I know him, but I don't know his. That's the bad thing about YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody comments on my videos, and they're like, "Hey, I commented." I'm like, "And what's your username?"
Chubby Bunny 124. So, yeah, that's a
Comment below what your name is, Mid Tennessee, please.
yeah, that's a thing that I've learned with launching my kayak. It takes so long for me to put it together. Putting all the things on it. I just take my time. I don't care if I'm first or last. I'm not going to go out there and set any records.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'll help who needs helping.
There's the Mexico Bass Nation phone.
I bet you go there, they stop you and get your autograph.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we're coming up on the halfway point. And the halfway point, we do the Kayak Coffee questions and answers. So we've had some people submit questions, and they're entered in the Kayak Coffee monthly giveaway. If you didn't get any questions in, you can go to the USA Kayak Fishing Magazine Facebook page, and there's also an entry form there. So you can also go to thekayakcafe.com, and there's a pop-up as well. So we have a couple questions here. The first question is from Stephen Kidd from Country Kids Outdoors. His first question is, what is your most memorable win in a kayak fishing tournament?
Well, I kind of mentioned earlier, and that's got to be the 2023 Tennessee Bass Nation Kayak Series State Championship. Sorry, that's a tongue twister. But I ended up winning that on Lake Gunnersville. Lake Gunnersville is my all-time favorite lake. And to win out there with these absolute hammers is it was just an awesome experience. Oh, okay, yeah. I've talked to him on Facebook.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining.
Chris, if you see him, you got to run, go, oh, can I have your autograph?
I don't know, if I was you, I'd run the opposite direction.
Run the opposite way.
Yeah.
All right. So this one here is going to play into, you know what? I think I'm going to ask you this question. His second one's about YouTube. I'll ask you that last so we can just plead into more stuff about YouTube and breaking the tournament stuff. What is the future for Ethan Jett? Is his next question.
Well, the future, hopefully, is to grow the social medias, the YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I would love to do this full time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer every day. I just love teaching people, and that's one of the things I love to talk about on my YouTube channel. So that's one of the things, get better at uploading constantly. So probably the next thing is to get to do more national level tournaments. That's my main goal for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Is the money to be able to go to most, if not all, of the Bassmaster Kayak Series. Hobie, sadly, the Hobie Bass Open isn't anymore, at least for this year. So hopefully they'll add next year maybe. So that's my main goal for Jets, for me. Not really the YouTube side, but the YouTube side will go along with that.
Yeah.
The bigger tournaments, you go and fish, the more people want to watch those bigger tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So
that will grow. Maybe you'll cross paths on Piercy Priest eventually.
Yeah.
All right, this one's from Steve Burge. He is a member of the Heroes on the Water Tidewater chapter. Which is harder, West Coast tournaments or East Coast tournaments?
Ooh, well, to be completely fair, the only as far west I've gone is Texas. I
Hmm.
can't really. I don't know if he's mentioning like California and up in that section, but I can talk about Texas. Texas is west for me at least, um, which I've only really fished two tournaments in Texas. One tournament I struggled, and that was
Hmm.
on Possum Kingdom because it's a deep, clear water reservoir that I'm not a deep, clear guy. I don't have live scope, so that kind of plays into that. But Lake Fork played my playbook to a T. I love shallow water, chatterbait fishing, grass fishing. So Lake Fork was probably my favorite. Besides Gunnersville, Lake Fork is my number two, and it is very
Hmm.
close to number one, like favorite lake to fish. So, to be honest, I think it's harder to fish in East, and that's just because I've fished more lakes here in the East.
Hmm.
Some lakes are really good, like you got the TVA system, which is Gunnersville, Chickamauga, um, Kentucky Lake, Pickwick, Wilson, all the Tennessee River chain. Some of those lakes, I've always said, they're your best friend or your worst enemy. You can go there one day and absolutely wear them out. You can go the next day and not catch a fish. So those rivers right there are hard to fish. Once you know how to fish them, they're your best friend, but they can still kick you in the butt every now and then. Hence, the native no limits on Gunnersville. It
Hmm.
absolutely killed me. But I would say East Tennessee would probably be the worst or the hardest, or East region, because these lakes here, and I don't know about over in California, but here in the East, our lakes get pressured so much. We
Right.
have so many tournaments. We have so many people that like to fish in a small area. I don't know about in California or all that out there. I don't see a lot of videos coming from there. So I would not say there's a ton of people that fish over there, which I've also heard it is hard to fish in California because it's like a deep, clear out that
Right.
way. But I don't have any experience out there, so I can't really say. So to answer his question, I would say east.
Awesome. If you could add one thing to kayaks that does not already exist, what would it be?
Well, we I said this earlier. The number one thing that I've always wanted in a kayak that has not been released as of last week was a spot lock rear mounted trolling motor. Well, if you're current to the kayaking news, Garmin just released a rear mounted motor with spot lock. I think they released it yesterday or early
Hmm.
this morning. It's an iCast release, an early iCast. It's called I got it pulled up.
That one right there.
Right there. The Garmin, um, what's the name? The Force Current Trolling Motor. So it is an awesome looking guy, or an awesome looking motor. Problem is though, it's got some flaws. The price for one,
Yes.
$3,900 or 35. I can't remember what it was. And then the sad thing is, it's only 50-pound thrust, which I don't know. I got an NK 180 Newport. I absolutely love that motor. It goes through grass amazing, but it's a 1.8 horsepower. I don't know what that would go back in the thrust. You know,
Yeah. I don't know what the conversion is on it.
I don't even. But that's the only thing I hate about that motor. Now, if they came out with like 100-pound or whatever a 1.8 horsepower motor is, that motor would be killer if it was a little bit cheaper as well.
Yes.
I think they have some redesigning to do to try to get that price point down. If they could figure out to put that price point down to like 2,500,
Right.
I think they would sell the daylights out of them. And they might already do it. They might sell a lot. Yeah, it's got a wireless pedal. Yeah.
Hmm.
They might sell a lot of them, but sadly, I don't have that much money to put on just a motor.
I will say, as someone who's was an automotive technician for quite a while, when I hear wireless pedals, I'm
Yeah.
thinking they're going to lose connection in the middle of the of the open water,
Yeah.
and then maybe
Some,
they've got it nailed down, but I've seen
Mhm.
plenty of issues with technology on vehicles, and you can just pull up on the side of the road. So
Yeah, exactly, Chris. Costs more than my native Slayer. It's going to cost a lot more than a lot of people's kayak.
mhm.
The other thing that you just mentioned about that wireless is I just thought about it while we're sitting here. I would hate to you have to recharge it or something. Like, how is it? It's got to be either battery powered or like a rechargeable or what. So that'd be something else to have to remember to do. And
Unless your pedals are wired to power but not wired to the motor.
yeah, but if you have you watched that video?
Mm-mm, I haven't. I was just saying.
Yeah, the video that they released it with, it
Mhm.
has you going like the person reaching down and pulling the pedal off of the foot mount and being able to put it in your truck easily. So it's got to be powered by like a battery. So
Mm.
that's something else. So that'd be interesting to see.
Just coming by you. Hey, Ethan, good spot. Nope, charging my pedals.
I could just see it like I used to have an XI3, and when your
Mhm.
battery remote on your on the handheld battery, if it went out, the motor stayed on. There was no like safety function that cut it off. So I could just see it like the battery on the throttle and the pedal going out at the same time when you're on like a curve,
Yes.
like a turn, and then you don't have nothing. So,
Or if it's like a DJI, it takes you back to home. I
yeah,
had I
yeah.
had you just like in the middle, boom, lose connection. All of a sudden, I'm going back to the dock.
So the cool thing about the spot lock on the back, I can see, is that's the number one complaint
Mm,
with people that have spot lock is when the wind's blowing. If you got it on the front, the wind coming this way, it's going to keep you like that. But if the motor's on the back, and you'll actually be able to fish downwind instead of upwind.
yes,
So that'll be cool.
I think it's a great first attempt.
Yeah.
All right, so third question: where do you see professional kayak angling tournaments going?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I'm really good friends with Steve Owens. I don't know if anybody knows him. He's probably the most talked about tournament director and the best tournament director in my opinion. Um, he's the tournament director for Bassmaster and a lot of the local Tennessee trails. One of the great things about Tennessee, we have so many trails, but we can talk about that later. One of the things that me and him have talked about in the past is where we see these tournaments going, the professional side.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I would love to see come back, and I really think the format was amazing. Do you remember the KFL, Kayak Fishing League?
Sounds familiar. Yes.
So about let's see, 3 years ago, they had this kayak fishing league, and it was like 2 years of it, maybe even three. But it was just like an MLF team series. So you
Mm-hmm.
had it was like an NFL team, really. So you were recruited by some like I got recruited to be on the Tennessee Shiners. So each state had their own team. And then we would literally go to these lakes. We'd meet one other team, and you would send four people there, and four of their team would go to this random lake that each team would pick,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all streamed online. Like it was streamed live while we were fishing. And they had like two guys off the screen, kind of like what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they would commentate while we were fishing. They would ask us questions because we'd have like an iPhone on a GoPro mount behind us, and it was just what it was a live like a live stream or a Zoom meeting, and so you would hear them behind you, and they'd ask you questions. And so the way I could see the professional level going is be more televised, um,
Mm-hmm.
kind of that. And really, the only way we can grow more is sponsorship money.
Yes.
And to have more sponsorship money, you got to have more eyes on the tournaments. And one of the best ways to do that is to have a TV show or something similar to that. We already have MLF and Bassmasters live. You know, people watch it. So why can't we have kayak fishing live?
Yes, that's the one thing that I think is missing. I mean, even the kayak shows that come on that are like specials for the year. They have like, oh, here's a thing about. I watch that until they take it away. I
Yeah.
love watching it. And then I watch YouTube. So I do like that. The was the new team series that is started by
Musgrave or
Musgrove. He was on.
Musgrove.
Yeah, I love the team aspect of it because I think it brings it right back to what we started fishing with grandpa or mom and dad and cousin, friends. You get to have that team.
The team series, they got really lucky because this year Hobie came out and said they weren't having their trail anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they came out right before, or I think the team series came out right before that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when everybody was already making plans for Hobie, this team series comes out and everybody just flooded. They got really lucky this year. I don't know if they talked to AJ previously or what, but they literally filled a gap. And that's why they're doing amazing. Like they'll have over 100 teams, or they've had like over 50 teams every event, which is over 100 people, which is amazing for a national level trail this time. Like, the economy it's so expensive to go places.
Yes.
And they've had over 50 teams at each event.
Yeah. When I spoke to him, I said, how many people haven't shown? And he said one person didn't make it. And it was because of health issues, not because they couldn't make it. So, which is amazing that they're, Plus it adds that level of accountability too. Like if I know that I'm your teammate, then I've got to be there for you as much as for myself.
I love the format, and I'm really sad that I wasn't able to fish it this year.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of other engagements that I had to do, and I just couldn't financially do it either because they are 2 days event. So it does cost a little bit more, but really the price for the event itself is not bad.
Right.
I think it's like $100 or something.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's not, the bad thing about the Bassmaster, and it's also the good thing, it gets that payout more, but they're $295 to enter.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a lot of your kind of grassroots, your weekend warriors out of that. And it's a big payout, but it's a higher risk. So those $100, it kind of hurts if you really think about it, but it's not. You're not losing $295.
Right. So this is from Philip Huddock. He's the owner of 47 Lures. He has a question, and his first question is: what skills does it being a professional kayak angler involve?
Ooh. I've never been asked that question. I think that one of the biggest skills that a lot of people don't talk about is, or I guess some people do, is really the mindset, the determination. Like, I'm a really big fan of Gerald Swindle, G-Man, and one of his biggest sayings is positive mental attitude, PMA. And that's what and if you watch any of my videos, you'll see me, like I'll lose some fish and I'll start kind of getting mad. And then I'll always, I'll sit there and I'll say, Ethan, get out of this. And I won't even fish for like 10 minutes. I'll tell myself, get out of this funk. And I'll stop. I'll either pray or I'll just sit there and then I'll start fishing again. And it makes you, like, once you start getting in that negative space, it's hard to get out of it. Mm-hmm. And once you get into that negative space, you start making mistakes. And so I'm really, one of the biggest things is keeping that positive mental attitude. I've always practiced that. And that goes back into determination, being determined. I don't know if anybody's watched a couple of my other podcasts I've been on. I did one about pre-fishing and my way of learning an area. Mm-hmm. And I'm on my laptop. I actually have a fishing log that I'll actually go in there. I got a page set for each tournament I fish. I'll have like where I'm going, and then I'll have boat ramps picked out. I'll go in there and Google Earth. I'll go. So going back a little bit, I kind of, when I get ready for a tournament, it's not 2 or 3 days before I leave that I'm getting ready for a tournament. It's 2 weeks before usually I'll start looking at the next place. Like this weekend, Gunnersville, Tennessee Bass Nation, just a regular 1 day event. I have I have 5 or 6 boat ramps that I want to go and look at. I have it all in this um, Excel spreadsheet. I got like what I'm looking at on the Google map. I even have waypoints sign like tagged in it. So and it just helps me stay focused, helps me stay organized. And you have to be very determined to keep all this. So
Right.
determination and positive mental attitude would be my 2 biggest things.
Plus, I would say you've got a high level of organization too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes back to being an engineering background,
Mm-hmm.
stay organized.
Devil's in the details.
Yeah. And I love Excel. Like I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. So having all that in there, I guess you could probably call me weird.
Mm-hmm. All right. So he says, what's the balance between working for your sponsors and being on the water?
That's a good question I've ever been asked too. He's got some great questions. Well, it's kind of in my opinion anyway, and other people might, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like you want to put in that time to be good on the tournament waters, but also you got to spend some time just filming content.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going out, like for example, I work really closely with Torn Outdoors. They're a soft plastic manufacturer here in Tennessee. Um, we do a lot of designing and testing on the water.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm out there, I'm trying to get content for them, but I'm also trying to look at the bait, how they work. So that's kind of like I'll use that time to get content, and I have content backlogged that I can't share because it's prototype stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that stuff, but then when I'm out there, I don't want to pre-fish with stuff. I don't want to use that stuff during tournaments because they're not all the time worked out. Like they have flaws. It's a prototype. So in that aspect, you want to use the stuff that can catch fish, so you're not making content for your sponsors. But so it's a very fine line that you got to do a mixture of. That kind of sucks when you're trying to work like a full-time job because it takes a lot of time going out there taking pictures. Sponsorships nowadays, they could care less if you're the best angler in the whole country. All they want is you have outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it is definitely, they work together, but they also work separately. This is a good question to really think about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like you said, you might not be catching the biggest fish, but if you've got the best personality, mentality, and you portray yourself correctly and people follow you, you're way better than the guy pulling 10 pounds with a bad attitude.
Yeah, exactly. And they want good quality content.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't get that in a tournament aspect, then you just need to spend more time on the water, just fun fishing and getting that quality content. So it is, like I've always said, I've always told people that ask me how I've gotten my sponsors. I've always used the fun fishing to make content for them, but the tournament fishing is to get my name out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they work closely together, but then they also hurt each other. So I have to write that question down. That was probably the best question I've been asked by anybody. And I've been honored to do a lot of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the best question I've ever been asked.
I will let him know.
I'll have to make a Facebook post with that question and explain. Because I feel like I just rambled on.
I think you hit a lot of the key points, but they were high level. If you answered that question the way you wanted to, it's probably a 30-minute piece in itself.
Yeah, easily.
So this is we're back to Stephen Kidd. What's your biggest struggle with your YouTube channel, if any?
So my biggest struggle at the very beginning was starting out.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely hate my corn-fed Southern voice. Like listening to it, going back and editing these videos. You're sitting there and it's like, did I really sound like that? And it took me forever to actually to set. I've had this Jets fishing adventures in my head for a long time, like even when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wish I started back then because that was kind of, I graduated in 2017. So this was like 2015, 2016. There was nobody making content like what we're doing now. And I really wish I started back then. And I actually I have one video of me shooting a bow at
Mm-hmm.
a target. And I talked about it. It was actually going to be called Living the Dream Outdoors, LTD Outdoors. And I still have that YouTube channel. Like it's still there, but I edited one video, and I was like, or I started editing, and I said I can't do this. I cannot listen to myself. And then 2 years ago, actually January 28th was my 2 year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago on that date, I sat there and I said I want to start it, and I pushed through editing, and I edited my first video. It was like a little teaser trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible, absolutely terrible. But I posted it, and then I posted the next week. I posted a video out on Gunnersville, and absolutely terrible. Had my GoPro, and it ran for like 2 hours at most. My battery died, so I started filming on my phone. Absolutely terrible. It's still on the channel. You can go back and watch it. But that was the hardest thing, was starting just the editing, listening to my voice. The actual editing, I actually did it really easy because I'm young. I've lived with computers my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
so I actually edit all my videos on my phone with a Luma Fusion is what it's called. So I actually picked that up really quick. So that wasn't an issue. But the second probably main issue was equipment, like
Mm-hmm.
for batteries. Like I don't have a extravagant life. Like I live paycheck to paycheck a lot of times. So it's hard to come up with money sometimes to afford this nicer equipment. And so that was probably the second hardest, is equipment. But definitely the hardest thing as far as YouTube is listening to my own voice.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this question for Mid Tennessee Angling. He said he couldn't find the question form. What's the number one tip to break the mold and learning how to read the lake originally from Illinois, so Tennessee water is so different?
Well, Illinois water and Tennessee water, it's not a huge difference. It's just you got to remember both Central Illinois water is nowhere near us. Okay. Yeah. So, and very murky. So for the most part, when I look at a lake to fish for the first time, I'll look on Google Earth and I'll look for a boat ramp that has a lot of different structures. Like look for points, look for drop offs, humps, look for docks. Excuse me. Google Earth will allow you to go back in time and look at the different dates of the lake that you're wanting. So you can go back and look at historical, like grass edges and all that. So I'll go and look for, when I'm looking, I'll go and look for places with grass. So I'm looking for one ramp that has it all. And then I'll go, once I find that, I'll go and fish that ramp and fish everything. And then once you start catching some fish, then you can get, remember it in your mind and go and look at other areas that have similar stuff. And the most of the time you can replicate it. So that's how I break apart new water to myself.
Nice.
I think that answers his question.
Nailed it. So getting back to the YouTube, what was your what camera do you use now to do your videos?
So I'm very simple. I still have the same thing that I started out with. It's a GoPro 9 with a RAM mount Tough Pole 48, I think is the name. So it's behind me and it goes up to my left shoulder. It overlooks my kayak. And then for like B-roll, which I don't do a ton of B-roll. I keep my videos very simple. And to be honest, I started out with doing like B-roll and music, and they were doing good, but I started just doing it kind of simple, kind of like Christine Fisher. You know how her videos are very kind of, it gets you out in the action. So I've actually had a ton of people message me and say, "Oh, Ethan, I just love your video. They're down to earth, real simple. It really puts us in the action and not have all this theatrical stuff." So I'll film like my intros. I'll film with my phone, do a selfie, and for my top 3 every month I do a top 5 baits for that month. I'll do it all on my phone, and it's just a simple, easy way. I have that Luma Fusion. I have 2 phones. I got my daily use phone, and then I got my old phone that I had, and it's got the bigger storage. So I'll just transfer all of the videos over to that. I just got this laptop not too long ago, which I'm not going to do any editing on the laptop, but it will start to be my like storage. It's got a big 1 terabyte storage. That's the biggest thing about your phone is being able to store videos.
Yes,
that's the sucky part about it.
So how do you transfer your videos from your phone to off your phone? Like
So
where do you?
I just hook it up I hook my phone to the computer directly and just have a folder with it all.
Does it transfer quickly, or is it
Depending
start it
on,
and go to dinner?
Yeah, it's kind of a start and kind of go and do something else. It depends on how long it is. And like the top 3 bait videos, or the top 5, if I do it all on my phone, for some unknown reason, I guess the phone like compresses it and it transfers a lot quicker. I don't know why. It's something to do with if you're a computer geek,
It's
you
magic.
might know. Yeah. So I don't question it. I just do it.
Yeah, I noticed on some of your videos, you say you're simplistic with the camera, same camera, the phone, but you had a Rode Wireless Go. I saw you.
Yeah.
You paid a little bit for some audio.
Yeah. So that audio stuff actually came from a trade with one of my buddies. I traded them a fishing rod for them. But so I was talking to Christine Fisher and Bailey Egret. I don't know. Be the Fish is his YouTube.
Ebert, right?
Yeah, something like that. He's up from New York. Yeah, and so they helped me from the very beginning on like what kind of equipment they used and stuff. And Bailey he has a really good I think he has like 3 or 4 cameras, and eventually I want to get to that point. But it's just money, really. Hey, if anybody's from GoPro listening, just send me some. But
he'll give you an autograph in exchange.
Yes, I'll give you all the content that you need. But anyway, so they helped me up a lot, and they always told me that your video quality, it's important, but your audio quality is the most important. And it is true. I never really thought about it until I started filming and putting videos online. Like I start watching some of my buddies' videos. I got a couple of friends that made videos about the same time that I started, and their audio it's spotty. And sometimes my audio is terrible because of here in the South, definitely these night tournaments or these afternoon tournaments, you get these what are they, cicadas, and the video is terrible. And the problem with the GoPro is you have to have the media mod to run an external mic. So in the wintertime, it's not a big issue, but in the summertime, you can't have that media mod on that GoPro because it'll overheat in an hour.
Right.
So that's the only bad thing in the summertime here in the heat is the audio will be kind of a little bit less if it's just a full tournament fishing video. Sadly, I want to figure out how to do that. That 3BR, I run that 3BR Power Sports waterproof mount.
Yes.
They just came out with a plastic version of that with a fan on top to cool the GoPro. So I kind of want to try that. The only thing I'm kind of worried about, I don't know if they have like an external mic hookup. If they do, the only thing I'm kind of worried is the fan making noise.
Right.
So I think I do okay with my audio. It could be better, but it's just a matter of money and,
Right.
and knowledge, really.
But yeah, I could tell that you spend a little bit of time in getting the right, because I use I have tons of audio, but I have the wireless go-to mics and stuff, so I know that they're next level. They're not your Walmart
No,
99-cent ones.
Yeah, I really like it. Like I'll actually have to move it down a little bit because you can hear me breathing.
Oh my gosh. I tried to do a video for somebody and I was walking through and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, who was this? This was filmed by Herbert the Pervert. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I had to go I used like Audition and stuff like that. And I could see where I was breathing. I had to take all the peaks out. So it's like, yeah. This is crazy. Like, don't move when videoing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know the directional mics would be nice for that expand.
Right. The only problem with those, and a lot of people don't realize when they're using directional, the minute they turn, you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of YouTube videos. They're like telling you something important. They're like, man, this is the secret to life. And what you got to do is, and that's it. I'm telling you. I'm like, what? What did you say? I don't know what you said. So
yeah. Wow.
Awesome. Well, I think we're coming up on close to the hour mark. Is there anything out there that you want to share with anybody, or anything coming up that people should look out for?
Well, this time of year, I've always been a very big advocate on the YouTube channel and social media on safety. If you're out on the kayak, always wear your PFD. You should never have it. You should always have it on. Even, a lot of people have it behind them, but that's not going to save you. If you fall in the water, you get knocked out, like a boat hits you and you get knocked out, you're not going to pick up that life jacket. So always wear your life jacket. But really, if you have not, go ahead and go and check out my channel, Jett's Fishing Adventure. We have I try to upload every week, and I'm actually going to try to upload twice every week, starting about now. Really, I need to get the watch hours up to start getting paid, so that'll be nice. But every podcast I'm on, I always take the opportunity to talk about safety. Safety in a kayak. We get, as a kayak community, we get a lot of backlash from the boating community about being unsafe. But in reality, a lot of time it's the boat community that's not safe. So just always wear your PFD, keep your lights on, your 360 nav lights if you have a motor, and really, most importantly, have fun. Like, if you're going to these tournaments and you're not having fun, why do it? So that's kind of what I want to say.
There you go. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with the PFD statement. We have a local TV personality who posts his fishing adventures, and he was in a kayak sitting there bare-chested paddling. And I was like, man, you need to especially if you're someone of importance or influence, you need to set that right example. But
so the KBFTN club, that's my local Nashville region club. We have a rule in that club that every picture, if you're in a kayak, every picture you must have your PFD on. If not, that picture will be taken down. And if you try to post multiple times without it, we'll ban you. So that's just to make it like Chris here. He's new. The Mid-Tennessee Angler. He's kind of new to kayaking. And when you're on that website or on that Facebook page and you're seeing these people that don't have PFDs, it makes a bad example.
Yes.
So, you never know who's watching. And I always try to be safe while I'm out on the water. And, how I see it, and I'm not a very famous person yet. I don't know if I ever will, hopefully maybe one day. But how I see it is that if I can save one person, it's worth it.
Oh yes, yeah. It's tragic because you hate to be. It's almost like when other events happen in life and everyone tries to push their agenda when the bad thing happens. You know, you don't want to be the guy on there who, uh, Jimmy, let's say, passed away in his kayak because he wasn't wearing a life jacket. You don't want to be the one who's on there like, always wear your life jacket, because you feel like you're talking bad about that
Yeah.
person, but you're trying to save the other
Yeah.
5,000 people who decide they don't. I'm a good swimmer. I'm a good swimmer. Well, a lot of good swimmers have died because they don't take into account for current, or we have a location here that a lot of people like to fish. It's called the Lesnar Bridge, and the water that comes through there is deceptively fast. And if you roll your kayak, it'll just suck you away. You know, who knows where you'll be. So
I got 2 points right there. Earlier this year, probably like 2 months ago or a month ago, a guy actually got killed on Percy Priest because he was in his kayak, and this dude was actually a record holder swimmer or like he was 70 something, but him and his wife was record holder swimmers for being the oldest people to swim this so many distance. And he drowned and was drowned. He was drowned because a storm blew up, and so he wasn't wearing his PFD, from what I've heard. And so even if you're a record swimmer, it can still get you.
Yeah.
Just look up Kayak Bass Fishing Tennessee on Facebook, or you can send me a message on Facebook too, and I'll invite you.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Jett, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for sharing everything you have. I like that you were able to get some good questions here. I wasn't aware we had a local club here. Yep. There seems to be a lot of clubs out there that people don't know about. And it's a weird situation where there's so many of us. We do so many things, but we don't know about each other.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I was hoping the magazine would be the cure for that, but it seems like even people now, they're like, oh, you have a magazine? Like, dude, I have put it in every single forum. I've put it everywhere. I've knocked on your door, and I've done everything. So
have you ever done an article about the CAST organization?
I have not.
Okay, so here in Tennessee, if you live in Tennessee, if anybody's watching, we have CAST, Kayak Angling Society of Tennessee, and that is our governing body. So Tennessee, in the kayaking community, we were the first ones to bring all these clubs in the state together under one governing body. So CAST sets the rules for each of these grassroots clubs. So we have, I think the number is 10 clubs, and they're all across Tennessee. And the cool thing about the CAST Club is at the end of the year, this year it's October 17th something, don't quote me, we have the state championship. And so each of these clubs, they send their best anglers, and the way you qualify is through AOI points. So you got to at least fish 5 events, and it's your best 5 finishes. So each club has a certain number of tournaments they have to have each year. So all these clubs send their best 8 and then 2 tournament directors to this lake. And so each year, each club gets to host the state championship. So over the course of 10 years, each club will have one state championship. And so we actually fish. There's prize money, but there's a paddle that you get your club name written on. That's what everybody's wanting, is that paddle. And it's just it's a nice, the CAST is really nice because each tournament in the state of Tennessee, we all have the same rules. It's real nice. And a lot of the other states have been adapting that format. So I'd highly recommend
Heck yeah.
getting somebody on.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome idea. I will definitely do that.
Yeah. Even if everybody wants me back on, I can talk about it more. But
I don't know if we'll be able to talk about anything. You and I just have nothing to talk about.
nope. I can sit here and talk all night, people.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Well, I do appreciate you coming on. If you guys haven't, please go check out Jett's Fishing Adventures on YouTube. He's rapidly growing. I remember not too long ago he was asking for his 1,000th subscriber. Now he's asking for what, 15 now you're asking for?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you're
I'm at
climbing
like
up there.
1,200.
Climbing. So if you're not on there, you need to help him out.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, I appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and put you in the back here, and then I will come on after I say goodbye, and we'll sign out.
Yeah.
Thank you again. All right, everyone. That was episode 26 with Ethan Jett. Quite an amazing individual. He's a youngin, but he's a formidable champion, and he's going to be around for a while, knocking down some great things. So if you guys get the opportunity, please go check out Snake River Manufacturing. Steve and his crew over there are knocking out some amazing trailers that are going to revolutionize the way that you get your kayak to the water. So go check him out. Also go to vibe.com and check out the kayaks they have. They have some amazing things. And if you go to Outdoor Alphas, they just picked up the No Bad Days kayak brand. They are taking over. So we hope to have them on with us. We'll see how that works out. If you're in the market for some coffee, kayakcoffee.com is giving us code CAFE20 for 20% off their coffee. It's an amazing whole bean that you can grind yourself to make some great coffee. And if you're in the market for a cup, we've given the logo usage rights to Nico's Art Therapy on Facebook, and they are using all of the proceeds to support Nico's Art Therapy. All right. So once again, thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week.